Hey there guys, Master Chief 4 here, and as you can see, we are back in our box map. Alright, so the first thing we're going to want to do is get rid of this, just by pressing B, and as you can see, now it's gone. So what we're going to be learning today is how to add barriers, kill zones, push zones, and how to properly align surfaces. Right now, aligning surfaces is stupidly easy. Let's just simply align every single surface in here. Alright, so I'm going to click here, here, and here, and then I'll do Shift B. So I've only put 3 brushes down my level, so I just selected the general surfaces of the 3 brushes that are in this level, and then doing Shift B will select all of these. Alright, after we selected all that, we simply right-click on any of the surfaces, doesn't matter which thing. If you barely move your mouse, like I just did there, by the way, it won't pull up this menu, so make sure you do that. There's a tab called Alignment, and there's Default, Planar, Planar Walls, Planar Floor, Box, and Face. So in general, it is best to use Box, and as you can see, it just adjusted a few things. But now, as you can see, there is not any sort of jaggedy edge right here. Alright, now we're going to actually get to the part where we add the barriers, kill zones, and push zones. So we're going to want to bring this back so we can see where exactly we're putting everything. And we're going to resize this. I'm going to resize this to a 128 by 128 by 128 area. I'll do that. You'll see it goes a little bit smaller. Let's properly align this with the floor as well. I'll put this right here. Shrek is in this area, so we're going to move this box over here. This is simply for testing purposes, and no, it's not a super practical example, but I'm just going to be simply creating a barrier, a kill zone, and a push zone. These will all be set as zones. So as you can see, we have our zone. All right, let's put a zone here. So here is where it is right now. So we're going to come over here and you'll see that there's something called volume. Now right click on this and it'll pull up all of the volumes in the entire game. So for a barrier, you do blocking volume. All right, there we go. Also, I should mention you never duplicate the red brush. This is not something that you can duplicate. Now we have another zone that we can create. This zone will be a kill zone. So we want to make this a physics volume. And this zone right here is going to be a push zone. So we also want this to be a physics volume. All right, now we're going to press B. And as you can see, we now have our 3 volumes. All right, so these 3 zones right here are not going to be working perfectly, except for this one, which is our barrier. This one is super easy to create, and you shouldn't have to worry about anything. All right, we want this to be our kill zone. So let's right click on this and then click on physics volume. Then we go to physics volume. Now we want to toggle be destructive to true, which is a boolean. They put B before everything to determine that something is a boolean. And a boolean is simply something that is a true or false question in a way. So we want to set this to destructive, and we also want to set this to pain causing. The damage per second, if we want this to instantly kill you, which more than likely you do, you want to set this to 500, and the damage type should be fell, I believe. All right, and that's all that we need to do for that. And now we need to make this a push zone. So click to deselect that and then right click on this. And let's go back to the physics volume tab. All we want to do is mess with the zone velocity. First off, we want to figure out what direction we want this to push us in, right? So I think that pushing right here would be nice. Now, as you can see down here, there's a Z, X, and Y axis right here. And as you can see, I'm looking towards X and I'm looking straight at X. So essentially what this means is that we want to add a positive value to X. So I'll do 50. If I wanted to push me the opposite way over here, as you can see, all I would do at this point, if I wanted to push me over here, we do negative 50 because it is the opposite direction because it should be going forward. But in this case, we want this to not push us towards the kill volume. We want to push us towards the wall. And that's all you're going to want to do. Now simply X and then just save it. All right, so now we're going to want to open up our map. We can do this by doing that, as you already know. And as you can see, we are in the map. But one thing you might notice is that we can't actually see the zones. Now, I'll get into a later tutorial on how you can do this. But for now, just use the console and type in show all with no space and then show all with a space. And now, as you can see, we can see our volumes in space. So let's get into this one first. As you can see, this is our barrier and it is properly working like a barrier. Absolutely no way to get inside this no matter what you do. This right here is a push volume. If I stand in this, it'll push me over in the direction that I told it to. You're in the air as well. Well, it doesn't do much if you're in the air. It's quite glitchy if you're in the air, but it does technically work the moment that your half of Shrek steps into it. And if I touch this, I just die completely. Additionally, if I were to jump into it, it kills me before I hit the ground. So it'll just kill you no matter what. So yeah, guys, that's going to conclude part 3. Hopefully you guys got something out of this. And in part 4, I'm going to be going over actors in a little bit more detail than I have previously. Anyway, guys, see ya!